Hello and welcome back to the Eyes of Ode gaming channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I have another older game in my What Is It and Is It Worth It game review series. In this video I will go through the various aspects of the game, trying my best to avoid spoilers for new players, and give examples of similar games as well as my personal opinion as to whether I would recommend the game with a thumbs up or thumbs down, and if I personally enjoyed it. I won't be giving a number rating to the game as many other channels do, as I find this to be a very arbitrary way of rating games, which like any other entertainment is completely subjective, and instead I prefer to give enough info for you to make a decision on your own if you would like to go forward with picking up this title for yourself. Today's game we are looking at is Deadfall Adventures. This is an action-adventure game which was developed by The Farm 51 and published by Nordic Games. It was first released back in 2013, so we're looking at around 8-ish years by the time of this video. If you're interested in picking up this game, it is available for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So what exactly is Deadfall Adventures? Has it held up over the years? And is it still worth picking up as a first-time player today? Let's take a look at this one together so you can decide if it's right for you. So what is Deadfall Adventures? Well, at its core, it's a first-person action-adventure title where you'll take control of the character James Quartermain. The game is set time-wise during World War II, and you'll be tasked with fighting Nazis as you solve puzzles in a first-person dungeon and cave exploration-focused game. Along with the standard soldier enemies, you'll also come across other supernatural creatures that you'll have to fend off during your playthrough. If this sounds like it could be an Indiana Jones game, it's because it certainly feels like there was some heavy inspiration taken from it. Really, the whole way through it feels almost like the poor man's Indiana Jones or Uncharted. Though that may sound harsh, there have been other games that originally released as clones of successful franchises, only to turn out to be hidden gems and creating their own fan bases. Let's take a look at some of the other aspects of the game so you can decide if this is a bargain bin clone or a hidden gem waiting to be explored. The game is set in first person and is very much an on-the-rails experience. You'll be following a set series of missions as you progress through the storyline. Movement is a little stiff and it does suffer from some of the typical issues of older games, such as obstacles being difficult to navigate at times, with the player being stuck when trying to get around some objects. One of the other key aspects of the game is puzzle solving. Typically these are fairly simple and involve moving the correct object, lining things up, or in most cases shooting an object. Typically objects which are designated for shooting can be identified as golden rings. Although the movement is clunky, the shooting is fairly responsive. The AI for the enemies is really not very good, and they will seldom take cover or use any other tactic other than standing stationary and shooting. Even with these issues, the combat can be fairly enjoyable, although repetitive. Aside from guns and explosives, you also have a melee weapon, which is especially useful for clearing plank barricades. One of the unique mechanics involves a flashlight, which is used when fighting supernatural enemies, such as mummies. This will require you to shine the light, making them vulnerable so you can finish them off with more conventional means. The graphics are dated, but not too terrible. This is a hard one to comment on, as the graphics themselves are not necessarily bad, but things just look weird, especially when it comes to character models and cutscenes. Where the graphics shine is in the unique environments themselves. Considering the age of the game, I feel the landscapes and locations have held up really quite well. Through the progression of the story, you'll begin traveling around the world, and the unique locations do really help to keep the game more interesting. Aside from the combat and puzzle solving, you also have some other moments in the game, including quick time and sequences requiring you to react to the situation. You'll also be equipped with a compass and notepad during your adventure. The notepad is used as a way to reference your notes about locations, offering clues to puzzles, whereas the compass is used during exploration to find treasures. Treasures are useful as obtaining them is a means of acquiring skill points, which are then used to unlock upgrades and abilities. Sound in the game is really fairly generic. The music feels like it is a little campy, but is tailored for the environments you find yourself in. Shooting and explosion sounds are serviceable but generic, and will likely not leave a lasting impression. Dialogue is very poor in this game. The writing itself is really quite cheesy, and delivery can be almost comical at times.
No, it's of vital importance to our mission, and thus to the fate of our nation.
Sounds dramatic. I think the price just went up.
So many books. I thought you'd be more the magazine type.
Yeah, they came with the flat.
You think that's a good idea?
Relax. I've done this before. There's plenty of... time.
Comfortable there, Quatermain?
What games would I compare Deadfall Adventures to? Well, the obvious connection can be made to the Uncharted series. You can also draw a correlation to Tomb Raider. However, with both of these franchises, the connection between Deadfall and them will lie more in the setting and story rather than the core gameplay itself. So now that we've looked at some of the features of the game, we reach the point of my review where I give a more subjective look at my personal experience with it. Please keep in mind that the following is just my opinion of the game, and if the features and genre seem interesting to you, you should definitely check it out for yourself, as not all games are for all gamers. The game that you hate might be the next gamer's all-time favorite, which is one of the things that I love about gaming. There's always something for someone out there. So did I personally enjoy the game, and would I recommend this? Well, maybe. If you enjoy the genre and haven't played the Uncharted franchise, I would say it is miles above and beyond this particular title. If you're strictly an Xbox owner, then it might be worth your while. The story is rather generic and the puzzles leave much to be desired, though I did manage to get through the entire title and did find it to be mostly enjoyable. I wouldn't say the game is necessarily bad, just very generic with nothing to separate it from others. You can probably find another title which will be much more enjoyable and worth your time. However, if you're looking for something new to try in this genre, and don't mind all the cheesiness of it, you can probably find a copy of this at a heavy discount. Aside from the main solo adventure campaign, the game also features a multiplayer and survival game mode. I wasn't actually able to play the multiplayer as there are no players online to do matchmaking. However, I can only assume that private matches may still work. So I hope that you enjoyed this look at Deadfall Adventures. If you found this video entertaining or helpful in deciding whether or not to pick up the game, please throw me a like here. Also, let me know in the comments your decision whether or not to go with the game. Have you already played Deadfall Adventures and checking out others' opinions? Let me know your own thoughts on the game below as well. It can also help out other gamers to see more than one opinion when deciding whether or not to go ahead with this one. Lastly, please consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy what I do. I create a variety of content from reviews like this one to mod showcases, walkthroughs, let's play, and more. And you subscribing really inspires me to continue making more content. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today, and until next time, take care.